Well, this is a good way to use a little free time when you can't necessarily go out into the snow, frozen dirt, or whatever, and save some of the artifacts that we've been talking about or that you like the community for. This group happens to be all over 2 inches. It's a RHYOLITE group that I keep, as you can see now easily. Top, left, all of them fit in there. We're just getting through this. I only have maybe 2 sub-level compartments that I need to show and get up on my documentation. So we're just going to make sure that we highlight these. These would all be a really great, I don't know if it's coming in, green. In blends of green. It probably would have been deep army green when they were napped out. But check this out. One of Curtis's pictures. If you don't have a Curtis book, you should get one. Because he took the best, last pictures of the genetic stock and clothing stock. Look at this man's face. He lived a life, I'm going to tell you that. And that is historic Indian, period. It's not Mississippian. It's not Adena. It's not Woodland. That was historic period. This, we've got to go back further. Imagine what the men and women must have looked like, right? Fascinating thought. They were as noble, as rugged, as beautiful. The men and the women, including the clothes, textiles they made, and a bunch of feathers set aside for a feather lover that I know. Who can't love those natural wild feathers? Never going to leave them out there if I come across their path. Probably 8 years ago I found this. Thought I hung the moon, found it at Mecca. Before I even knew what Mecca would be about. Went up the road a bit to Site 6. Really cool thing about this piece here is that it comes from a site in my backyard that I discovered and had for a year. Then it went into baseball. Then they changed the baseball into soccer and football. But there's a people and a culture underneath the ground right there. And literally I had 1, possibly 2 collections off of there. Found some really fascinating pieces. I could say about 9 years ago, this is one of the first points I found altogether. North Gillfield, which is really about a mile from here. It probably doesn't mean too much to you guys who are watching, but this is the first point right here that I found, almost the first point at the Archaic, before I even understood what the Archaic was going to be. Now you guys have heard the term a lot and seen a lot of points from there. I think right here we're drifting into a very early point found at the easement. Notchville too. the rise. Simple point right here from Coyote Pass. Those of you who collect know how fast time goes by. Some of these sites I haven't even been able to get a good access or good quality conditions just because of timing and when you can go out. In 2 years, 3 years, sometimes you just don't, you don't expect that when you first start, but you have those places that are difficult to get to, or the agriculture doesn't roll the same. It's a great base from Mecca. And here's a point from Beaver Point. Banded rhyolite from Hidden Hill. I sort of think that the whole front of this point was burned in a fire at wicked high heat. Just a thought. It's early find. These are not all perfect. They're a little bit tumbled, what have you, but that's an early find from the Eastman. I love it. Here's what I actually think is a woodland point, but I'm not sure. Notchville 1. Then the last point. I don't want this video to be much longer, but these was just a really great group of medium size to large size points. Is this for its utility. Serrated. You can tell where they ended the point and then they began the hafting and just went to work on making it happen. You can tell how this point was taken from a flake. Cortex here on the flake at least. Edges worked on off. Here. The back slightly bifurcated. Some of you say bifurcated. Look at the serrations on this. That's what I call just made to work. Hope you find out there.